And welcome back to our community. Susie Thomas here with Joe Miller and Nikki from Pal Mission. And I understand, Joel, that November coming up is National Runaway Prevention Month. How prevalent is the problem of runaways these days?
Honestly, we don't know how prevalent it is in the Stark County community. I think that's what you're asking me, locally, how prevalent it is. What I can tell you is that in 2014, the Canton Police Department received a total of 298 missing persons reports on youth ages 8 to 18. And 85% of those were youth between the ages of 14 and 17, which we're going to talk about a program that we've developed for that particular age group. But it's important to note that we don't know the extent. People who work with runaway homeless and street youth nationwide will tell you that even if you're running an active shelter program or an active drop-in center, you still are not touching all the kids out on the street. You're only touching a percentage of them. So I'm happy to know that last year, 298 parents or caregivers made a missing persons report on their child, but we also know that there are families that did not make that report. Parents who are struggling with their own issues, their own disease of addiction or mental illness, aren't capable of making that report. And so we know that, it's probably more like, 450 or 500 youth that are out there in the streets.
My goodness. And it's difficult too, isn't it? Because we know another issue that is so horrible is the human trafficking. And so someone that might be kidnapped, for instance, and being forced into trafficking would not be run away on their own volition, but would this still be considered a missing person? Would these people be filed in these same reports?
I'm not sure exactly how that plays itself out. And, this is relatively new to us, and we're learning that system. I would imagine that there might have been a small percentage of those that were reported to be missing who might have been pulled into human trafficking. And I say that, Susie, because, again, what national studies and research shows is that youth who end up out on the street within 72 hours are solicited for sexual activity.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, that's just horrible. So we are preventing this. How do we prevent this in National Prevention Month?
Well, we are going to be involved in several activities to help promote awareness of youth homelessness in Stark County. Again, I think that we like to turn a blind eye to that dilemma in our community because it doesn't make us feel very good knowing that there's youth out on the street, homeless or couch surfing or whatever they are doing.
And when you say youth, remind us the ages again.
Well, the ages are anywhere, again, the missing persons report were ages 8 to 18.
8 to 18.
8 to 18.
These are children.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We will be focusing on youth ages 14 to 17 in our two new pending programs.
Still so young with the middle school. Where do they go? If a person runs away, does a 14-year-old know what shelters are available? Where do they go?
Well, first of all, there's no shelters in Stark County. That's why the shelter that we're getting ready to operate will be the first of its kind in our county. And also the drop-in center that we're getting ready to operate will be the first of its kind. Now, a lot of people have recently said to me, well, there's recreational centers and community centers, all over the city. And there is, and I'm thankful that they're there. But they're not geared specifically for runaway homeless and street youth. Yeah. And therefore, staff that work there don't have the special skill sets that you have to have in order to work successfully with runaway homeless and street youth.
There you go. And that's where the professional social workers come to play and getting licensed. And you, I know, Nikki, are now studying to be a social worker. And you are working full-time where?
At Child and Adolescent Behavioral Health.
Just amazing. And do you get an opportunity to share with some of the young people that come to you that, hey, I've been there. You can't shock me. I've lived it.
Absolutely. Every day.
Yeah. What are you seeing?
With just my own people, it's a lot of this, or they'll talk about, well, when my friend runs away or when my friends are not staying at home, they just go from place to place. And I think that this is going to be a great idea and a great opportunity for all of our young people to see what PAL has to offer in this new program and help them and, I mean, get them home or get them on their feet where they can be not homeless.
So good of both of you to be working on raising awareness, because I think people want to help. They're just not, this is not on people's radar that this is such a chronic situation. We would have this many young people out on the streets with nowhere to go. Now they will, thanks to you. But we should say you are located where?
We are located at the Martin Center at 1253 3rd Street Southeast in Canton.
And what can people do to help you? What do you need? Is there volunteer work? I know you want people with social work background working with this particular very specific population. How can someone help? Is there like clothing and food, and what do you need?
Well, first of all, monetary donations are always helpful. I mean, that's a
Yes.
given when you're talking about a nonprofit agency. But in regards to the drop-in center, we will need donations of small sample size bottles of shampoo and soaps. You know, the typical things that you get at a hotel room are the perfect things for us to use in the shelter.
Toothbrushes.
The small toothpaste, because not only can they use them at the shelter, but then they can take them with them when they go back out on the street, unfortunately. So we plan to provide a drawstring bag that they can have with them and take, those items with them. We could use donations of breakfast bars and fruit, fresh fruit, apples and oranges, bottled water, again, things that they can put in their backpack to take with them when they go back out on the streets.
And how sad that you're saying when they go back out on the streets.
I'm happy that for any males that come to the drop-in center, we can offer them a shelter bed at the boys' shelter, which would be located across the street from the Martin Center. Unfortunately, at this time, we will watch females walk back out of the building.
Whew. Okay. Now, and you're talking about Stark and Tuscarawas County, that you're serving both of these
Well, actually, the program is identified for Stark County. If there are open beds and a young man presents from another adjoining county, we are not going to send him away.
Right.
We're going to make sure that he has a shelter bed or make necessary calls to make sure that we can find him a place to stay.
We're speaking with Jill Miller and Nikki from PAL Mission. I understand you've got, well, we mentioned how important fundraising is. You've got a couple of events coming up where we can do just that?
We do. Associated with the November National Runaway and Prevention Month, we're going to be doing a couple of things. First of all, your listeners are going to be seeing rather large size ads in the Canton Repository, which will be citing some local and state statistics about runaway and homeless youth. But also there's some fun things that your listeners can participate in with us. On Thursday, November 5th, we'll be having Throwback Thursday. And a lot of people who are involved in social media know what that is. We're asking individuals to show their support for these youth by posting a picture of themselves from high school using the caption, "I remember what it's like," and then the hashtag NRPM 2015. Then on Thursday, November 12th is Wear Green Day. Green is the color chosen to bring awareness to the issue. And so we're encouraging everyone to wear green, take pictures of yourself and your friends, and then post on social media, again with the hashtag of NRPM 2015.
Okay, and the NRPM is National Runaway Prevention Month. Okay,
Exactly.
Hashtag NRPM. Okay, remind us those two dates and what we need to do again.
That's November 5th and November 12th, both Thursdays. And then finally on Thanksgiving Day, that's Thursday, November 26th. When a lot of us are celebrating with family and friends and reflecting on what we're thankful for, we're asking people to participate in an online thunderclap. If you've never heard of a thunderclap, it's the online version of those like fund-raised thermometers, except instead of measuring money, which, by the way, we would love to do.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yes, that is fine. But instead of measuring money, the thunderclaps measure impressions.
Wow.
So you can check that out at thunderclap.it. That's IT.
Now, these are things that we're supposed to be posting on our own social media. Does it
Yes.
matter which platform? Facebook, Instagram,
No.
Twitter? Doesn't
All
make
of
any.
it.
Okay, the whole gamut.
The whole gamut.
Pinterest, anything. Okay, and remind us the dates and what we're supposed to be putting up them one more time, please. Because
Okay.
get your pencils out, write this down because there's a lot here, but you don't want to miss it.
Thursday, November 5th is Throwback Thursday. So that's a picture, high school picture of yourself on social media. Then Thursday, November 12th is Wear Green Day, self-explanatory. And then Thursday, November 26th is the Give Thanks Thunderclap.
Okay, every time, hashtag NRPM. And the first one, the throwback from high school, that's I remember what it's like to...
Exactly.
Okay. Oh, gosh.
I can't wait to see yours.
Yeah.
I know, Susie, you will look the same.
Oh, that's too kind. Way too kind. But all right, these are exciting. Now, how do you see these helping? Because we need to raise you funds.
Thank you. I think it helps us, again, by bringing awareness to the problem in the community. If you do not work in a youth serving agency or perhaps in the school setting or a mental health agency, you may not be aware of the dilemma and problem of homeless, runaway, and street youth.
Right.
And so this is a way for us, like we did way back in the day, 16 years ago, bringing to the community's attention the plight of foster youth aging out of care and not being prepared.
Exactly.
I mean, quite frankly, Susie, you know, we go back that far.
Yes.
People were not talking about that dilemma back in 1999. And PAL Mission is really proud of the fact that we brought that dilemma for foster youth to the attention of many, many people in the community, including local foundations.
Mm-hmm. Nikki, I know you must have so much you would love to say to someone who is in your shoes way back when. What would you say to that young person as far as someone who's looking for a place, looking for help, looking for a place where they can belong, where they can be a family member, where they can grow and thrive, and they need you, and you know they need you, and what would you say to that person right now?
That sometimes the adults know what they're talking about. It might not seem that way at the time, and it sounds crazy, but sometimes what they're saying actually makes sense. Because when I look back at it, all of the things that I learned, I just want to smack myself in the head. Like, why didn't I
back
just
to
listen?
your younger self and well, if it's any consolation, I think probably every single one of us I know around this table would say, well, sure, I'd love to go have a conversation with my younger self. But thank you so much for what you are doing now. And Jill, thank you. And I wish you all could have seen Jill's reaction when Nikki said that sometimes adults know what they're talking about. We just really want to thank both of you, Jill Miller and Nikki. Thank you so much. PAL Mission, do go to, say the organization again, the website.
PALmission.org.
PALmission.org. Visit that. Please participate in these activities that they've got going really soon here on social media. And thank you for joining us. For The Light 95.9 WNPQ, I'm Susie Thomas, and this has been Our Community.